We've got two big Friday the 13th updates to cover, starting out with my quick thoughts on the Sweet Revenge short, which was not as good as the trailer, but still had some good stuff in it. And also, I've got some exclusive pictures from the set of Crystal Lake, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but that show is looking like it's going to be awesome. The second update I've got for you guys is on Zach Cregger's Resident Evil movie, which is coming out next year. Against my better judgment, I'm extremely excited for this. And then we got to talk about what's going on with weapons, because it's quickly becoming a franchise. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is my horror news channel where I cover everything that's interesting to me in the world of horror. If that sounds good to you, subscribe, set your notifications to all, and check out my other channel, Real Ones, because I have a huge video on weapons that, if it isn't out right now, will be out by the end of the day. So yeah, let's get into the first news story here, which is like the Jason update. So Sweet Revenge came out. It's a 13-minute short film set in the Jason world, and it's kind of a tie-in with Angry Orchard. The first big positive I have from this is that the Angry Orchard commercial aspect of it was not front-loaded at all. Like, the main character, Eve, is holding a bottle of Angry Orchard. When they get to the Camp Crystal Lake campground, they open up the back of their car and there's a 12-pack of Angry Orchard, and the old man, who's like kind of creepy and has a couple misdirects throughout the entire thing, he's eating an apple at one point, but that's really the only product placement I noticed, and it's not any different than the product placement you see in other movies. So good job, Angry Orchard and Jason Universe, on that front. As far as this thing goes, it's a 13-minute short film, so like it kind of flies through its runtime, but it's basically a truncated Friday the 13th movie. A group of friends show up at Camp Crystal Lake, they have some fun in the sun, and then once it turns to nighttime, Jason comes out and brutally slaughters them, which is exactly what I wanted to see. I'm just going to jump right into the Jason design because I feel like that's what makes or breaks this thing, and I feel like it's right on the line. In some shots, just like in the trailer, the mask looks fine. There's one shot from the side profile where the mask looks great, but then there's other shots of it where it's wrapping around the actor's head, and it just looks weird. Like, it looks like it's made out of plastic or bone or something, and it's supposed to be just a hockey mask, and I just don't like how big it is on his face. And when you combine that with the fact that they didn't film him right, he just looks short, small, and weird wearing that mask. It looks like a teenager, when really the guy who's playing him, Skylar White, is very tall. He's like a big menacing guy that is a stuntman who looks like he should have the right build to be Jason, but something about the way that they're shooting him, the angle, I don't know what it is, just makes him look tiny and like sort of weak. And I think if he is going to show up for an extended sequence in Crystal Lake, the TV show, they've got to figure that out along with the mask. There's no excuse for the mask to look this bad, and they should figure that out for the show, because this was not a good first showing of that mask. Like, we saw it at Comic-Con, it didn't look great, and it looks decent in some shots in this, but overall, once you get that full profile look, it just doesn't look right, and they need to figure that out. Like, they can't just ignore that feedback. I think they're looking at it like, oh, it's just the hardcore fans, we're going for the mass audience, but like, you need to make sure the hardcore fans are happy, and it's not really that big of a deal to change a hockey mask. Like, go to Spirit Halloween, buy the correct one from a different Friday the 13th movie and alter it a little bit. It's not that hard. I've done it before. It's not difficult. They should just do that. I don't know what was going on with this main character, Eve. She was a little weird. The acting wasn't great, if I'm being honest, and the kill where she gets pulled out of the canoe and pulled into the lake is bizarre because it's the middle of the day. It's not like twilight, it's noon, and then suddenly it's nighttime and she comes out of the lake. I don't know if they were trying to like introduce some Halloween Ends energy where like there's a spirit in the lake that brings you back to life, like the Lazarus Pit in Batman, because she has that weird stare down with Jason after she stabs her friend in the car and causes the car accident that kind of implies she might have died and been brought back to life, and now she's Jason's friend. It's a lot of lore to pack into a 13-minute short film that might not lead into anything, probably won't lead into anything. My favorite kill was the boat motor. I mean, seeing it shred that guy's head apart was awesome, even if they don't show the entire thing. There was a great shot of it kind of spinning around on the remnants of that dude's head. And then also when Jason throws the propeller, it just goes right into that dude's back. It wouldn't kill him, but like, I get why he went down. Also, throwing Eve through the window looked great. That's a callback to the many times Jason has done that throughout the franchise. I just wish that Apple Core machine device, whatever you want to call it, the Apple Core, I wish that kill was done better. I don't know why this is a consistent problem where like the marketing in Evil Dead Rise kept teasing the cheese grater. Then in the movie, it's totally not used all that well and kind of lame. And the same thing happened in this with that Apple Core thing. He's like, you don't even see him put it on her face. He like lines it up and then it cuts away. It's totally anticlimactic. The sound design didn't feel like it was mixed all that well either. And like the bodies bodies hanging all over the camp looked like when you go to a haunted house and they're like trying to, use dummies from Spirit Halloween and have their guts hanging out. It just looked rushed, honestly. I don't know what the budget was. The direction was fine. So like Mike P. Nelson, if he is doing the movie, I'm fine with that. I just hope he gets the correct budget, because this looks like it was made for nothing. Like, I don't want to say it looks like a fan film because it looks a little better than some of the stuff I've seen on YouTube, but it didn't even look like it was on the level of like a Blumhouse movie, sort of like Halloween or Halloween Kills or something like that. It was a step down from that, a step up from a YouTube fan film. We got to get it on the level of a full production movie, because that's eventually what we're hopefully going to get. So overall, I'm kind of mixed. It's all about timing. Like, if this just came out in the middle of a bunch of Friday the 13th stuff, I think I'd be more forgiving, but it's been 16 years since we've seen Jason, and this was not them putting their best foot forward. But switching gears here, the Crystal Lake TV show, I'm still not sold on the idea of it being a remake of the first movie, because Pamela Voorhees as the killer does virtually nothing for me. I want Jason to be the killer, and I'm just sick of that format that Marvel uses where, the main character of the show doesn't actually put on their costume till the end of the show. That's exactly what they're doing in this show. But a viewer who goes by Red Raven was kind enough to send me some pictures that they actually took on the set, because they just happen to live right on the set of the show. They're filming the show around the same area that the original movie was filmed, Blairstown, New Jersey, and they're using the same camp from the first movie, which I think you say Camp Nobi Bosco. I don't know what it's called, but that's the camp from the first movie, so they're using it for Camp Crystal Lake. That all is a good thing, in my opinion. And some of these pictures are looking incredible. I mean, Brad Caleb Kane, the guy show running this thing, he did the Welcome to Derry show and had to rebuild Derry because it takes place in the past. He's bringing some of that talent up to Crystal Lake for sure, because, everything from the Crystal Lake Town Hall sign to the fire truck looks period accurate to when this show is taking place. There's also some news stories out there that say the camp was built in the 1700s, which makes it very old. I don't know how connected this show is going to be to the Sweet Revenge Jason, but I'm pretty sure Skylar White is also playing Jason in this show when he shows up as an adult. So like, maybe they are doing some creepy voodoo shit with the lake or something, where it has the power to bring people back to life if they die in the lake. That would explain why Jason was able to come back and turn into the zombie wearing the hockey mask, and it would explain why Eve spent hours underwater and was able to come back with her creepy ghoul makeup that she had in the Sweet Revenge short. Like, this could be coming off like they have a plan, but right now it doesn't. It seems like it's kind of rushed and like they don't really know what they're doing. So hopefully this show comes out and is as good as all the set work looks, and, kind of just re-inspires everyone's confidence in it. I feel like they need to announce a movie. We need to know what's going on with that. But, it's some good, some bad. I think things are heading in a decent direction with the show. I ultimately care the most about the movie, but I am interested in watching the show now after seeing these set picks. So thanks a lot to Red Raven for sending them over. I don't get exclusive content here on the channel, so I was really excited when they said I could share them in a video. I hope this gets you excited for the show, because it improved my opinion on it massively. But yeah, that brings me to the second news story here, which is all about what Zach Kreger is doing next, which is Resident Evil. And of course, because that franchise of movies is terrible, like it caps out at decent, I would say, with some of the early movies, like the first Resident Evil and Apocalypse are fine, and then it's just like falling off a cliff with every single movie and that garbage Netflix show after it. And I don't even need to bring up Welcome to Raccoon City, man. That movie was so disappointing. Like, you can only carry the bad quality of that movie with the good sets so much. There was so much to complain about there that I could be here all day if I told you everything wrong with Welcome to Raccoon City. So that's good, because it means the bar is literally through the floor, and the only way Zach Kreger can go is up. So while he's doing the interview rounds for Weapons, he's been asked, of course, about Resident Evil because it's his next project. It comes out in September next year, so it's right around the corner. And everything he's saying honestly gets me extremely excited for it. The first thing he said is it's not going to be as high touch as something like Barbarian or Weapons. It's his Evil Dead 2 moment. He specifically said Evil Dead 2. It's going to be crazy, but he also said it's not breaking any of the rules of Resident Evil games. And that's really important to me, because another thing he revealed is that this is not adapting the games in any way. Like, none of the characters like Leon or Claire or Jill are going to show up. It's going to be all about Austin Abrams' new character, and he's just going to be in Raccoon City at the same time as everything else is going on with all those other characters. He also revealed that it's a point A to point B story, and from some leaks that we've heard, he's playing like an organ courier. So he needs to go into Raccoon City, get an organ for a transplant, and get it out of the city. So when you take that and combine it with the idea of it being like Evil Dead 2, I'm totally there for it. And I just hope a lot of the work on the enemies is done practically. Of course, the liquor is going to show up. I'd imagine we'll see the hunters because they show up in everything, but they just got to nail the actual regular old zombies. If you've played the Resident Evil 2 remake, the zombies in that and 3 remake are awesome because they feel like they have weight. Like when you shoot a zombie in the head in that game, its head like snaps back and then like falls forward. It feels like a person and not like this weightless sort of video game enemy that zombies end up feeling like in other games. And I think Dying Light is another good example of good zombies in video games, but I'm digressing here. I think he has the right approach by not adapting the actual games, because I think he does have a good point that the stories are there in the games. And I don't think movies provide anything in terms of, you know, cash to like the overall way a franchise is seen or viewed. I don't think anything is added to Resident Evil as a series by turning it into a movie. So if you're going to do it, I'd rather you kind of make your own lost Resident Evil story that fits into the timeline of the games than just adapt the games, because people should play the games at the end of the day. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like movies are some high art that video games can never achieve. I've played video games that I like just as much, if not more, than some of my favorite movies, like Resident Evil 4. Like, I love movies, I love video games. They both have things that make them different, but also cool. So if you are going to adapt a video game, why not do it how he's doing it and just make up your own story? But while all that is going on, everyone's wondering what's going on with Weapons, because New Line clearly sees a new franchise on their hands after it overperformed massively in its opening weekend, and it totally deserved to. That is by far the best horror movie I've seen all year, and I doubt it's going to be beat by anything coming out the rest of the year. I'm doing a whole video on it on Real One, so go subscribe to that channel because I don't want to spoil anything too much. I go deep on this movie because it is excellent. So minor spoilers, it looks like whatever comes next is not going to be a sequel. It's going to be a prequel focusing on Aunt Gladys, which makes sense because she's over 100 years old. You get that in the movie when she says that Alex's parents have consumption. That's an old disease. So like clearly she's not even related to them. She's not this aunt that they haven't seen in 15 years, because she also spoils that by saying that she saw him when he was a baby, but he's younger than 15. So like clearly the timelines are all messed up. But the interesting layer here is that they're treating it like The Conjuring, kind of, where like James Wan did the first 2 Conjurings, but Annabelle Creation, and La Llorona and the other spin-offs were not handled by James Wan. He oversaw the projects, but he didn't write and direct them. That's what Zach Cregger's doing with this Weapons prequel. I'm fine with that because after Resident Evil, he's working on a new movie called Flood. I just want this guy to keep pumping out the movies he wants to make and not get derailed by doing sequels and prequels to his other movies, because he's like one of the most original voices in horror right now. The difference between Barbarian's tone and Weapons is insane. So I just want to see as much movies as possible from him that are all just new ideas. And I'm counting Resident Evil because he said that started as an original script that he determined would work as a Resident Evil movie. Whatever you got to do to get the money to fund it, man, just do it because you're making great stuff. But yeah, that's all I've got for you in this week's news update. Let me know what you thought of Sweet Revenge. Let me know what you thought of the set pictures. Let me know what you think of Resident Evil down in the comments below. Remember to subscribe, set your notifications to all if you haven't already. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.